The first college local was founded at Howard University in November of 1918. The faculty felt like they had been deprived of their power and were looking for ways of gaining some back. Most locals in that first sort of wave went away, oftentimes under institutional pressures.
The second wave in the 1930s was largely about joining the labor movement.
It was a political statement that we want to be part of this in these difficult times right after the war. In the 1960s, a key event then happens at St. John's University, where the AFT strikes in the aftermath of the dismissal of 31 faculty members.
Distinguished professors losing their jobs simply for asking for a raise.
While the college cried poverty, AFT uncovered documents showing that they were actually running $1 million surplus.
And then the strike really went on for a 6-month period. Picket lines and snowstorms, a university administration totally intransigent.
Never actually returning the faculty members to their positions, but creating a very different context in which faculty across the nation were thinking about unionization.
It was academic freedom, the right of voice. Calls started coming in from all over the country. That put AFT on the map in a way.
With collective bargaining exploding for teachers, college instructors saw they could organize to gain a voice in their institutions.
The reason why people in higher education joined the AFT was to make those linkages. We're all part of one larger educational system, and by working together, we can support each other.
In '66, Henry Ford Community College was, in fact, the first higher education collective bargaining union to go out on strike. It was risky. The major point was to be treated as professionals, to have a meaningful role in the development of academic policy, the direction the college was going to take. They're doing something for themselves immediately, but more importantly, they are doing something for the profession and something for generations of professionals that are to come later.
That foundation was instrumental in helping adjuncts gain a voice at Henry Ford decades later.
Universities and colleges balance their budgets on the backs of adjuncts. They're incredibly great teachers who were treated so unbelievably poorly.
We had a president who came out in opposition to organizing the adjuncts. We were able to convince the trustees to direct the president to back off.
334 to 141. We worked hard, people were ready, people spoke. We won by overwhelming majority.
People want to be empowered, have a stronger voice, so they have some control over their work life.
What would we do without thought to quadruplicate or data processing? Paper, 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 make the world go round. Paper, paper, paper.
Unfortunately, public employees have the reputation of just sitting at their desk being paper pushers, but nothing could be further from the truth. State employees and city employees and county workers, they are the engine that keeps states running.
Within the division itself, there's over 3,000 job classifications, and we do a little bit of everything that impacts everybody's lives.
With the fiscal crises of the 1970s, public employees looked to unionization to stabilize their employment, and they found common cause with public school workers.
Public employees that were unorganized in lots of places in the country, and once we had a presence there, there was a natural affinity.
Even though they were not educational workers, it increased the size of the AFT, and we were able to help those employees address their concerns.
Fund public services.
We had to find negotiating expertise somewhere, grievance techniques. Who better to train than teachers? You can accomplish a lot of things through lobbying in the good times, but when the bad times come, you really have to have people behind you.
Put on your hard hat, the sky is falling.
The oil price crash of 1986 cut Alaska government revenue by 75%, leading to unavoidable public employee layoffs.
If they didn't like you, they could just lay you off. And so we sat down with the administration, we negotiated more defined layoff procedures, 3 months of health insurance to help you in a transition. We got preferential rehire right when positions became available, and it really benefited our members.
This whole attack from Walker is absolute union busting.
It's that divisiveness of this governor to try to split us apart.
There have been such attacks on public workers. We have to hold elected officials accountable.
We will stand up and fight back. Public employees in Kansas would have been decimated without a counterbalance, without employees standing up and saying, this isn't right.
Providing that voice to make sure that we have great employees providing amazing services to the people in the state of Montana.
The joy of any girl is justified when she receives the diploma of her nursing school.
When I first started, reality sets in. You get assigned to a floor and your 1 or 2 patients increases to about 10. Management said, well, you know what? If you don't like it, leave. I knew we needed more training, more help, and we realized very quickly the only way you can do that is if you're unionized. There's no other way. They wouldn't negotiate in good faith, and we said, okay, well, here's the choice. Either sit down really with us and negotiate, or we're going to go on strike. This was new ground for us, and new ground for most nurses. We didn't know if we weren't successful, what was going to happen.
While independent unions like HPAE had some success, affiliating with AFT allowed them to fight larger battles and secure better contracts.
Having that backup and support, it really sent a strong message to employers. It'd be better for you to really work out these problems and try to settle. AFT taught us how to be better unionists. The nurse-to-patient ratio is at an all-time high. Lots of times our patients can't speak up for themselves, so it's our role to speak up on their behalf.
There was a true and clear sexism that existed when we were in bargaining. They called us quite regularly girls. And the guy that was negotiating with me said, well, you know, if nurses wanted good pensions, maybe they should marry better. Well, there was somebody that had a really good pension, and that was the CEO of the corporation. We came into the corporate headquarters donning wedding dresses, putting on nurses' caps with veils.
Women don't depend on men for pensions. Women depend on their own power and standing up and fighting for what they deserve for pensions.
We were the only group in the whole of the system that got any kind of payment because we were the only unionized folks in that system.
NFN and its 34,000 registered nurses have joined us.
Our members truly, truly want to be a part of the House of Labor.
With NFN's affiliation, AFT is now the second largest healthcare union in the United States.
Combining 2 great unions that will be able to speak with one loud, united voice.
I think that affiliating nationally is really going to give us a platform to be leaders in terms of the health of the nation.
Because there's just going to be more people involved pushing for the same message.
When we gather as one union, we can see the connection between education and healthcare, how public services are needed for children to do well in school, and how K-12 and higher education interact. These connections between divisions make us stronger as a union.
We're here today to announce our new partnership.
New Mexico Early Educators United recently chartered with the AFT to bring together 23,000 workers in small centers scattered across the state.
Low-wage workers and members who know that there is power behind the union. When I see my name on the charter, I feel extremely proud. Unionizing gives us the opportunity to create this unique organization.
We are including the owners and directors in the process.
One thing that they have organized is a sick leave trust, and that's going to help me because I can't afford to pay my employees when they're sick. Instead of just one speaking their mind, when we all come together, we put our brains together and we put our ideas together, and that's what helps things grow and happen.
We can take on the state agencies, force them to look at solutions. It's empowering, it's scary, it's humbling because we are at the beginning of a historic event.
Our voice is powerful, and we're a powerful organization.